Have you ever wondered how you're going to die? Not just the how, but the condition you'll be in. Will you die full of regret? Will you die running from your calling? Or will you die having finished the very purpose God created for you to do? Wouldn't it be amazing if you were to complete the assignment that God had given you and received all the blessings that He promised you? That's what today's lesson about. I call it Buried in a Promised Land from the book of Joshua. Now, I know that that title may seem a little strange right now, but stay with me, because by the end of this message, I believe that you will truly understand what it means to live, fight, and die in purpose. The book of Joshua is not just a book about conquest and battle. It's a book about transitioning from the wilderness to the promised land, from wandering and drifting around to walking in purpose. Joshua's stories begin where Moses' story ends. Moses, the great leader, never stepped one foot into the promised land. But Joshua, Moses' assistant, basically led the people to the promised land. Now, let that sink in for a moment. Joshua was next in line, but God chose him to lead the people into the promised land. You know, that right there should encourage someone. Perhaps you may feel like you're being overlooked and you're working behind someone. Perhaps you may feel like you're stuck in the wilderness yourself and you don't know how to get out. But just like Joshua, if you continue to have faith, your time is coming. Your calling to leadership is being developed and shaped by your obedience and your trust in God. In Joshua chapter 1, God told Joshua, "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Now, that wasn't a motivational quote. That was a divine assignment. You see, just because we're walking in purpose don't mean that we're going to be walking in comfort. You know, the promised land, there still had to be giants that had to be slayed, territories that had to be conquered. So sometimes we think that just because God promised us something that we're not going to have to fight for it. But the book of Joshua reminds us that just because God promises us something doesn't mean it's going to be automatic. So the land was theirs, but they had to put their faith to work. They had to cross over the Red Sea or the Jordan River, just like Moses did at the Red Sea. They had to walk around the city of Jericho there until the walls fall down. And in chapter 10, something very interesting happened. They were fighting a massive army and they needed more time to win the battle. So what did Joshua do? Joshua prayed one of the most boldest prayers in the entire Bible. He said, "Sun, stand still over Gibeon. Moon, over the valley of Ajalon." And the Bible says that the sun stayed still in the middle of the sky for about a full day and delayed going down. Can you imagine that? I mean, not only did Joshua ask God for help, but he commanded the sun and the moon to obey him to complete the mission that God had assigned him. What does this tell us? I mean, what am I trying to say here? Well, for one thing, this says that whenever we're walking in purpose with God and we're walking in alignment with him, there's nothing that can stop us or nobody. Now, I'm talking about nothing. Now, here's the thing that I really truly admire, and it speaks to my spirit. After Joshua led the people, fought the battles, and fulfilled the mission, he died and he was buried in the promised land. Now, that's the type of legacy I want to leave behind. I want to live boldly, pray faithfully, fight courageously. And when my time comes, I want to be found resting in the very thing that God called me to build. I don't want to die in doubt, fear, and regret. I want to die in the promised land. In the book of Joshua, I recommend you to read it. It's in the Old Testament. It's the 6th book there. And it's a good read. You got to check it out. But before I go, I want to leave you with something. Live boldly like Joshua. Pray faithfully like Joshua. Fight courageously like Joshua. In the end, finish like Joshua. Because here at CTC Lifestyle, we believe that serving God is a lifestyle and it's not a religion. We're here to help you if you're trying to strengthen or build your relationship with God. We believe that in doing this, it will help you understand who you are, fulfill your destiny, and carry out your purpose in life. God bless.